welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another video. So in today's video I thought I would finally get round to telling you guys what happened at my procedure in London a couple of weeks back. So a lot of you will know that I had to have a procedure done called an endoscopy with ultrasound, and I was meant to film this pretty much the week that I had it done, but I was really ill, and then there's only been this week. So it's been a bit of a rushed kind of video. Well, it's not been a rushed video because I haven't even filmed it yet. It's been a bit of a crap couple of weeks though, I can say for certain. So yeah, I'm finally getting around to filming it for you guys. Sorry it's taken so long. I will try and remember everything that happened, and also please ignore this little wet patch. I dropped toothpaste and I had to get it off. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so I'm literally only going to roughly go over this because, to be honest, I don't really want to go over it again, because I've had to, you know, so many people have asked me how it went and I've had to tell them, but I'm going to tell you guys what I feel like you would want to know and that sort of thing. But I do just want to quickly put it out there that I'm really sorry it's taken me so long to film this video. As I said to you beforehand, it's been a really crap couple of weeks. A lot has gone on in the second week. The first week was rubbish, which I will explain to you in a minute. But yes, so the procedure that I had done, for anyone who's forgotten what it was an endoscopy with ultrasound. Now, the reason I had this done was because I've got a really bad, well, it's not really bad history, but I've got a history of pancreatitis with unknown causes. So that's basically, you've got a massive gland behind your stomach, and that's called the pancreas, and that basically inflames. And it's very rare for a 20-year-old to have it even once, let alone twice without a cause. So that's just a quick sum up of that. And the reason, ooh, got hair over me, and the reason that I had to have this endoscopy done was because they had a feeling, or my consultant might have had a feeling, that I had what they call invisible stones. I can't think what the name of it is. I think it's like microthialysis or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But he said he thought I would. Okay, sorry guys, I cut out. Somebody actually rang me, which is really annoying, because it was just like a junk call sort of thing. But anyway, so as I was saying, he said he reckoned that is gone really wonky. There we go. He said that I may have either had that or what they call sludge in my gallbladder, which sounds absolutely disgusting, and I know it does, but basically that's when your, I believe this is right anyway, when your gallbladder tries to produce gallstones, but it just turns into like a horrible sludge instead. So he said I could possibly have had either of the two. Now, long story short, just to sum that up quickly, when I went in after I had the endoscopy, it was absolutely clear, so there was nothing there that they could find, which is really annoying. But it's also kind of a good thing because then there's nothing there, but it's a bad thing because we're no further forward into finding out why I keep getting the pains and why I've had it twice. So basically what happened is, on that day we woke up, because I can get the tube to London, which normally takes about only half an hour, 45 minutes, but because it was in the morning and rush hour, it took about an hour and a half. So we woke up, I can't even remember what time we woke up, but we left early. We was on the train at about 7 o'clock. We had to be there, my appointment was at 9 o'clock, and we had to be there half an hour before. So we had to be there at 8:30. Oh, and by the way, the London hospital that I actually went to was called UCLH, just to let you guys know that one. But yeah, so I had to be there for 8:30. So we got the train, woke up really early. Connor and my mum came with me, obviously. But yeah, so we got the train up there. 8:30 came, and they were so lovely. The minute we walked into the hospital reception, because obviously we didn't know where it was, we walked in, we said, here for an endoscopy, basically where is it, and they told us straight away. They were so lovely, like round here, round there, up there, blah blah blah. So we went up to the endoscopy unit, and the reception staff, as soon as we walked in, they were so lovely. They took my details and my name and, you know, all that sort of stuff. They said, right, we've got this form for you to fill out. If you just take a seat, fill that out, and then bring it back when you're done. So 8:30 we sat down. I started filling out the form, just of, you know, like personal details, things like that. And then literally, I don't even think we were sitting down for 5 minutes, and the nurse came in to collect me. So I was a bit like, wow, that was really quick. Like, they were so on it. But I think that was partly because I was the first appointment of the day. So they probably obviously just want to make sure that everything keeps up. But yeah, so 5 minutes sitting down in the waiting room, we were called in. And he basically just introduced himself, told me what was going to happen, so like he was going to take my blood pressure and temperature just to make sure that all my vital signs were fine and that they were okay enough for me to go ahead with the procedure. He fitted in a cannula in my arm, and we was in there for, must have been a good, I don't know, I'm looking at the clock, a good 20 minutes. So then about 10 to 5 to 9 came. And after all of that had been done, he said my blood pressure was a little bit high, but obviously that was probably because I was a little bit dehydrated, because you're not allowed to drink for 6 hours before the procedure. And obviously nerves, everything contributes. It wasn't like seriously high, it was just a little bit over. So they carried on, and about, as I said, 5 to 9, I think it was, the endoscopist actually came in and introduced himself and said, like, you know, hi, my name's this, you know, going to be doing that, just making sure that you know what's going to be happening today, and all of that sort of thing. He was so lovely, calmed my nerves instantly, I think, because actually being able to meet the person that was going to do it, it just settled, you know, it made me personally feel a lot more like, oh, okay, I know who he is, sort of thing, like I've seen him now, I know, you know. So about 5 to 9, he obviously came in, I signed the consent form, run through everything that was going to happen, you know, the risks, the cons, the pros and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, he disappeared. And then another nurse that's actually going to be in there with us, he came in, said, right, I'm going to take you through. And that was that. 9 o'clock came and I started pooing my pants because I didn't really want to have this done anyway, because it's not the most pleasant thing to obviously have done. I know no procedure is, but this, I've had the opposite to an endoscopy, which is a colonoscopy, and that was bearable, but it was horrible. So I knew I weren't going to get on well with the endoscopy. So I went in, Mum walked around with me, she weren't obviously allowed to stay in there, but I went in and I started panicking because there was like a massive room. Like it was like a theatre room sort of thing. It wasn't obviously actually a theatre room, but obviously that's the impression that you got from it. And there must have been about 6 or 7 people in there. So you had like the radiographers, you had the actual endoscopists, you had the consultant that my consultant had written to, you had the nurses, the anaesthetist. Oh, it was like, it freaked me out so much. So I was like, okay, I'm calm. Now I'm not calm. So I went into the room, I laid down on the bed, and obviously I laid there for literally a couple of minutes and they got straight on with it. They sedated me, so that basically means they made me drowsy, a bit sleepy, so I wouldn't really remember it. Now in the past I've had obviously 2 surgeries, I've had a colonoscopy, so I've had sedation loads of times and it's never affected me, but this time round I was in there for half an hour and before they had even finished it started wearing off, and by this point I was about 20 minutes in, so it was only about 10 minutes to go, but it started wearing off. So they had to sedate me more, but when I was sort of coming round, I'll say, because I technically was, I was crying my eyes out. I was actually sick a couple of times whilst they were doing it. And I think because that happened, I started panicking, and obviously subconsciously I knew what was going on, and I thought to that point, okay, I just want this over with now. Like, I'm panicking, I'm freaking out, I don't feel well, I just want to go home and whatever. And I knew that there was a good hour journey home as well, so that was making me a bit like, oh, I just want to whatever. So after they'd done it, to say for me it was the most horrific experience of my life, it was the most uncomfortablest, horriblest thing. To actually see the screen as well freaked me out a little bit, but I wanted to keep looking at it, but because I was so drowsy I couldn't keep my eyes open. I had the nurse holding my head back to make sure that it wouldn't affect the camera, and I heard the 2 endoscopists talking and the consultant talking, and it was all very, very overwhelming. Anyway, so after I had that, I was then taken into recovery. I felt the camera come out and I was like, oh, okay, I can properly breathe again, I can swallow again, and yeah, so I went into recovery. I must have been in there for a good hour, I reckon. Mum and Connor came in with me. I felt so unwell afterwards, which was really unusual for me because I don't normally, but they had to practically sedate me twice because it had started wearing off. So I had a lot more sedation than normal, and yeah, I came round, I was in the recovery room. They made sure I went to the toilet before I went home just to make sure that it didn't, you know, affect anything, because they had to go through a lot of organs to have a look. And when they sent me home, I was still half sedated. I didn't feel well. In the waiting room for an hour, throwing my guts up, which stressed me out more because I just wanted to get going. So anyway, after that, got in the car, got home, and obviously had the discharge papers. We knew, you know, they'd written the results on the paper, so we knew what had happened, we knew what they'd found. And it was a case of, we haven't found anything, we're going to refer you back to your consultant at home. So we were like, oh great, okay, nothing's actually, you know, come out of it that's good really. Like, it's good because nothing was there, but as I said, it's not good because my consultant and me were sort of expecting there to be an underlying cause that hasn't been found. So in my letter that was sent to UCLH, it was said something along the lines of pancreas division, something like that, and I think that's to do with 2 bile ducts opening into the duodenum, where normally people have one large one, but I have 2 small ones, and that's something that they couldn't exclude or confirm. So I think at the minute we're on the lines of that still could be a possibility of what's causing the pain and the discomfort and that sort of thing. I could have had that since birth, but unfortunately it just decides to, you know, it's one of them things that happens and flares up now. So when I got home, obviously I knew all of this. As soon as I stepped out of the car, I threw up again everywhere. Thankfully it wasn't in the car, and I practically slept for a week. The sedation really knocked me out, and again I don't know why, because I haven't normally had effects like that before. But unfortunately I ended up then getting a temperature throughout the week. It was really high, and there was one day, this was on the Thursday, I then actually went to my GP surgery because I was progressively feeling worse, and I knew there was something not right. Like, I was so lethargic, I was throwing up throughout the week. When I say I was shaking, I was literally shaking like that. Like, I couldn't control my shakes. I was, you know, I basically had fever symptoms. So I went to my GP surgery, explained everything. When they done my obs again, my heart rate was extremely high, my blood pressure was extremely high. I was in a lot of pain, there was a lot of tenderness. So he sent me straight up to A&E for them to say it's basically just, you know, pain and discomfort. Normally wears off after 48 hours, but in your case it's obviously just taking longer. So there's nothing there, you haven't got pancreatitis again, which was a risk, thankfully anyway. And it was just a case that I had a really bad temperature that I probably had in my system before the endoscopy, but it's just managed to bring it out at its worst. So throughout that week I didn't do anything. I didn't go out all week other than the hospital on the Thursday, and I didn't get out properly until Sunday. And then after that it's just been a very, very busy few days trying to organise going back to work and doctor's appointments or follow-up appointments and all of that sort of stuff. So it's been a really busy couple of weeks, but the endoscopy for me was the most horrific experience of my life. And I've made it quite clear that I will never have it done again unless they will be able to fully put me out, because I don't want to go through that again, especially if there's no other option for me, which there possibly might not be, because they have mentioned about doing surgery, but they can do the surgery they want to do through an endoscopy, which is a slightly different one, which I've already said, you know, if that's the case, I have an appointment on Monday week with my consultant again, and if he says that that's the case, then I'm gonna probably be like, oh, no. But yeah, so that's basically what happened. Overall, everything was fine, which is annoying. But it's also a good thing. I've been getting a lot of niggly pain this week, and I've been trying to ignore it, hoping that nothing's gonna come up from it. But it's not bad to go to the doctors, so I'm not gonna waste their time with it, but it's being controlled with painkillers, touch wood, and it's not gonna get any worse. But yeah, so I will continue to update you guys on eventually when I have appointments and I can see the consultant, and I'll let you know how them appointments go when they happen. But in the meantime, it's now just a case of a waiting game, see how things go. Hopefully nothing flares up, but I've been told by my consultant that if I have any more pain to go straight up to A&E and for him to be bleeped, so I don't have to see the A&E doctors, I can just see him straight away, which is a good. Someone else rang me. Apparently I'm loved today. But yeah, so as I was saying, everything was fine, everything was, you know, all good. There wasn't anything there wasn't anything there that they could see, but they couldn't exclude something, which, touch wood, that will be the case of it. But yeah, so hopefully now I can get back to filming my good fun videos. I can get into a routine again, as I've said to you guys so many times, but these last couple of weeks have been like horrendous for me, like busy wise and illness and everything else. So yeah, thank you for everybody's support. I've had a couple of questions on it which I've been able to answer for you guys. But yeah, so if you guys want to know more, and yeah, just keep watching basically. I promise I'll be filming some good fun videos very soon that are like beauty related. I've just got to try and come up with them. But yeah, so if you do like this video, please give it a big thumbs up for me. Subscribe to my channel down below to see lots more channel videos. Don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video.